He was like, well, what do you consider wealth? Because when you think about wealth, you think about money, right? The number of ones, the number of five, the number of 20s, the number of hundreds you have in your pocket, right? But do you understand that wealth is more than that?
Yes.
Yeah. Wealth is more than that.
Yep.
Wealth is health.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. And you say, how did the enemy store that up? Oh, because there was an inventor, a scientist who invented to cure to something, who thought that he invented it for himself, but he really invented it for you.
Amen.
Y'all get that? No.
Amen.
Because it went over everybody's head.
Nope.
There's some stuff you need to get that has nothing to do with dollars and cents, because it is the wealth that God intends you to have.
There it is. There it is.
Peace of mind.
Yes.
You know that's wealthy?
Yes.
Ask anybody who's lost their minds.
Yes.
Yep.
The anointing. And not so folks could know your name.
Right.
I have never lived in an era as today where nobody wants to be anointed for being anointed's sake. They want to be anointed so that people know them.
Yes. Yes.
Listen, when I pray for people, you know Catherine Coleman, it was never about her. She was a woman that God had anointed to heal, and people would come to her services by the thousands, and she would pray for them to be healed. And at the end of the night, when people left and they were not healed, she'd cry, and she'd go to God and say, God, cleanse me. Because there must have been something in me that wasn't right, because if it were right in me, everybody would have been healed. Forget the fact that thousands were healed. Your anointing is not really about so people can know your name.
Right.
It's so that you can be used, and that is wealthy.
Yes.
Yes.
That's wealthy.
Yes. Yes.
That's wealthy. Go get what God has for you. Refuse to take no. If he said you the nurse, you the nurse.
Right.
Do whatever you got to do to become the nurse. The little boy said, everybody else had passed, and I didn't pass, but then I passed. I said, sometimes you got to fight to get what you want. And you got to go at it hard. You know what the enemy's going to do? He's going to make you tired. He's going to make you not want to study. He's going to tell you what's not worth it. He's going to tell you you could do something else to make a lot of money too. But what about just doing what God said?
Thank you, God.
What about that? Because when you stick with what God says, you know you are wealthy.
Yes.
I'm talking houses and land, y'all.
Yes.
I'm talking
Yes.
about obedience being better than sacrifice.
Yes.
Wealth. What is wealth? What is it? And are you worthy of it? The relationship you in, is it wealthy? Is it the thing that God has for you? Or does it tear you down? Do you leave that person thinking, if I wasn't with them, I'd be able to stand and be holy?
God. Lord Jesus.
I guess God is going all over the place today, because I'm really trying to stop. And he's like, no, keep going.
Lord Jesus.
Does it help you be wealthy? Or do you leave thinking, this can't be what God has?
Jesus.
If you leave thinking, this can't be what God has, guess what? It's probably not.
Right.
Now, I'm not saying you're not going to argue. Human beings argue. Your thought is different from my thought. My thought is different from your thought. Sometimes we have to reason.
Right.
Sometimes we have to separate. Sometimes I get mad at people. I don't talk. My sister be like, you don't got nothing to say? No. You make me sick. Then I'm like, why you screaming? Jeremiah. I gave Jeremiah the silent treatment. Jeremiah said, Mommy, are you ever going to talk to me? Are you sorry now? And then God said, you need to go back and apologize. I have to go back and apologize. But I'm not getting rid of my son.
Right.
He mine. All of his crazy, all of my crazy, we are crazy together.
Right.
It's wealthy though. Are the things in your life wealthy? Is what you're doing wealthy? Is your job wealthy? I was on my job for 28 years. I started making $5.25. It was wealthy the whole time I was there. I loved doing it.
Thank you.
I wanna I'm going to pray. With you. Because what the enemy will do is he comes for your joy. Right? And so that's what gets you off track, right? Because you don't got no joy. He comes for your joy in everything in your life. He'll make your partner get on your nerve. He'll make your kids start acting funny. The people on the job, you just don't like them no more. Folks in church, you just get, just with a grain of salt. Your joy is gone. But we're going to pray about joy. We're going to pray about joy. Period. Why? Because the joy of the Lord is your strength. What did we say joy was?
Extreme confidence that God is working everything in my favor.
Y'all know I had a lady chase me down with that shirt on. She was like, Miss. I was up somewhere in Jersey. Where is that church? I was like, it's in the Bronx, New York. She's like, I said, but you can still have this joy. Joy. The enemy's coming with your joy, for your joy. When he tells you you're not anointed, that affects your joy. When folks start saying, God is not with you that way, I love it. You want to sing and God said, I've anointed you to sing, and then the people say, you're not anointed to sing. That comes with your joy, right? I don't like the way you sound. You're like, for real? But, Jesus said, get your stuff back. Get your joy back. Because it's going to be your strength. It's going to help you fight. You might have to fight from the evening to the evening of the next day. You might have to. And the only way you're going to be able to do that is if you have some joy. Some joy. I can believe God for your stuff, but you have to believe God for your stuff. I can believe it, because I believe it. But you have to believe God for your stuff. You have to know that you can get your stuff back. Don't worry about previous mistakes. David was in this position because he made a mistake. Right? He was in a position to have his stuff taken because he made a mistake. A big mistake, but it was a mistake. When he got his mind right, sometimes you got to get your mind right. Yep. Get your mind right, go back, get your stuff. We're going to pray about our stuff, about joy, about being strengthened with God's mighty right hand. About never giving up. About not looking at anything that is in front of us. It's a lie. If it's anything other than what God said, it's a mirage. I was driving up last night. Oh man, I was tired. I was coming back. It was like 11:30. And I was like, God, what am I doing on this road? He said, I needed to show you something. You needed to see. Get your stuff from the enemy. It's your stuff. Amen.
Amen.
Let's pray.